Welcome to Education Today. I'm Brittany Melito
And I'm Carly Toy
of Armstrong High School in the Armstrong School District.
Tonight we are going to talk about a yearly tradition in our secondary buildings. Each year our district high school students get their creative and artistic juices flowing to put together a musical play for our communities.
This year is the first annual musical at Armstrong High School, which students are already hard at work on and preparing for the upcoming show dates in the spring. We've brought in a few guests to give us some insight into this year's musical, including its director and a few of the students who are involved. Welcome to Education Today.
Could you please introduce yourself for our viewers at home and your role with the district?
I'm Craig Kluken. I'm a social studies teacher here at Armstrong High School. I've been teaching for about 17 years and I am the director of the musical.
Okay. What is the extent of your involvement with the musical?
Basically, as director, kind of oversee every aspect of it, everything from blocking and acting to the music to the sets. Although I have lots of people who are more involved with each of those, it's my job to kind of oversee and direct them as to what my vision of this musical will be.
How many shows have you been involved with and what all do you do?
I have been involved with, if you go back to high school and my days of doing stage crew at Ford City High School, I've probably been involved in over 50 shows. I helped with about 8 shows to junior high when I was teaching it to junior high. This is my 10th show at the high school level and my 4th show directing.
What is this year's show and how was it chosen?
This year's show is The Pajama Game. As I was kind of looking at different shows for this year, there were 2 that kind of jumped out at me as far as having a decent number of roles, large roles. Knowing that the 2 schools were combining, I wanted to choose a show that kind of got a lot of people involved. The first show I was looking at was a show called Thoroughly Modern Millie. And about halfway through summer, I found out that both Freeport and Leechburg had already decided to do that show. So I went to the next choice, and that is The Pajama Game, which is the show we're doing.
What goes into designing the various parts of the performance, such as lighting and sets?
Lighting really depends on the mood of the scene. Lighting ends up being one of the last things we do. Have ideas on lighting, but until we get all of our sets made and painted and all of the acting in place, can't really do a whole lot with the lights till kind of that last few weeks. I have lots of help with that though also. And as far as set goes, the script kind of dictates a little bit of what the sets are going to be. You know, it tells you you're in an office space or in a factory. So you know it's going to kind of look like that. What that factory or what that office looks like is where you have the leeway to kind of do your own artistic interpretation.
How many man-hours do you personally have in the musical?
6 days a week, about 3 hours a day for 4 months. So whatever the math works out on that, it's quite a bit.
Did you have help in designing the lighting and sets?
Yeah, absolutely. Everybody from my student director, Haley Hoffman, to Jake Martin, who was a former student who stuck around helping things, to recently retired Pat Kavanaugh. All those people have input into designing the lights.
What have been some of the challenges with working with all the new equipment?
Challenges, haven't got a whole lot into it. Challenges are going to be, we have more room backstage, but some of the equipment I'm used to having at Katanning, we don't have here. So it's just going to be kind of figuring out how to do all those things that I'm used to doing, only without some of the equipment we've had in the past.
How long did it take to build the stage set?
It will take, as I always say, it'll take probably about a week past the show. There's always stuff. We're building up till last minute. We'll do the first night of the show and it'll be like, that needs fixed or we need to add this. So in all actuality, building the set continues through the final curtain call.
We sometimes hear the cast talking about cue to cue. Can you tell us what that is?
Cue to cue is one of the longest, most boring, tedious parts of musical. That will be the Sunday before opening night, and cue to cue is where we're fixing the last minute fixes on lights and all that kind of stuff. And when it says cue to cue, it's literally, okay, start, scene one, stop. And they'll just stand there for 10, 15 minutes, whatever it is, till the lights are adjusted and fixed. Okay, go, stop. And the whole way through the show doing that. Usually it's a good 10, 12 hours. Sometimes it's gone into a second day, depending on how intricate the show is.
Are there instrumental students who are also involved in these performances?
Yeah. Stage crew, I mean, obviously is all students, and most the artistic crew, those who do the art painting of the sets and everything, generally are always students. Haley Hoffman has been my stage manager for, this is now her 4th year helping me, and she's really kind of like my right-hand man when it comes to those things.
Who directs the pit?
The pit is being directed again by a former student, Ms. Vicki Walker. She's also doing vocal coaching for us this year. So these musicals, nice thing about them is there's lots of former students, alumni, if you will, returning to now help on the other side of the production.
Are there any others who help you put this production together?
Yeah, like I said, Ms. Craig, one of our teachers here at Armstrong High School, she's helping out with some choreography. My former choreographer, she couldn't do it this year, so Ms. Craig actually helped me find a choreographer. One of her good friends does choreography, so she helped me with that. Mr. Vaneski, he runs the auditorium. I mean, there's just a multitude of people that I could list.
There are many hours spent together putting these shows together. Did you feel like you had a close relationship with the cast?
Yeah, definitely. Basically, we become a family. I mean, I said before about how many hours we put in, and cast is here nearly the same amount of time. And we even have weeks where we call them crazy weeks, where we're here from about 2:30 in the afternoon till 8, 9 o'clock at night straight for 5 or 6 days. And you know, there's fights and everything else like a family, and we make up and get done what we need to get done and become closer for it.
What is your favorite part about being involved in the musical?
My favorite part might be auditions. Just that whole, you have no idea who's going to come out, who's going to audition. It seems just about every year there's that one person that you weren't expecting who just blows you away, and that's kind of a neat thing to find that person who's never done this before, and boom, there they are all of a sudden.
If you had to guess between the pit performers and behind the scenes crew, how many students are involved in this year's production?
I would say there's probably about 50-ish students involved. We have about 33 or 34 kids in the cast, and there's probably going to be another 15 to 20 kids on stage crew and so forth. So around 50 would be a good number.
What can you tell the folks at home about this year's show?
This year's show is a fun show, really upbeat. It's a typical musical. There's a love story. They're in a factory, and the boss falls in love with one of the workers, and the troubles that causes. But it's a classic. It was written in 1955, so it's kind of that classic golden age of Broadway musicals style musical.
Thank you very much for joining us today, Mr. Kluken. We're going to take a short break, and we'll be right back with Armstrong School District's Education Today.
All your professors, all of them, they know that all it takes is one dreamer with passion, one person, and they hope in each of you that you might be that one who makes a longer lasting light bulb, who writes music for the ages, who who reaches into the mind and discovers a new star and who can change the world of a fifth grader. We're gathered here to hope in you.
I'm Indiana County Sheriff Bob Fyhawk. We are all proud of Indiana County, but we must be worried about the negative growth of drugs and alcohol abuse. It is the responsibility of all of us, parents, teachers, and community leaders, to provide the best possible education to our youth in the prevention of drug and alcohol abuse. The law is a deterrent, but education is still our best protection. Help keep Indiana safe and drug-free. For more information on how to talk to your kids about drugs and alcohol, go to the abovetheinfluence.com, brought to you by the Armstrong, Indiana Drug-Free Communities Coalition.
The brain is a remarkable organ. It's almost infinite in its capacity. Its ability to reach its full potential is limited by only one thing: the heart. For if the heart isn't fully engaged in what you're doing, if you have no drive, no passion, the brain will simply go through the motions. Find your success at Indiana University of Pennsylvania.
We're back with Armstrong School District's Education Today. Tonight we are talking about Armstrong School District's first musical. We are now joined by a few students who are involved in this year's production. Could you please introduce yourself and your role in the musical?
Hi, my name is Madison Kuntz, and I play Babe Williams in our production, The Pajama Game.
Is this your first musical? And if not, what other productions have you been involved in?
I've been in several productions outside of high school, but in high school, my freshman year, I played Julie in Schoolhouse Rock. My sophomore year, I played Alice in Wonderland, and my junior year, I played Dorothy in The Wizard of Oz.
What's your favorite song on this year's show?
My favorite song is the opening number, 7.5 Cents, just because it's really upbeat and fun, and I think that everyone really enjoys it.
How does it feel being a senior and this being your last show?
It's kind of bittersweet. I'm glad that I had so many opportunities through the years in high school, but I'm looking forward to moving on and hopefully doing more things with theater.
What are the practices like?
So we practice 3 months, and we pretty much practice Monday through Saturday. So practices are pretty long and intense, but we get used to it and it's a lot of fun. So
What's your favorite musical memory?
my favorite musical memory was having the opportunity to play Dorothy in The Wizard of Oz, just because that has been my favorite show since I was little.
How do you think the audience will react to this year's show?
This year's show is pretty different from any other show that we've done, but I think that the audience will really enjoy it.
What are your plans after graduation?
Well, I plan to attend college in vocal performance with a minor in communications, and hopefully someday become a college professor for music.
Will you continue with anything theater-based in college?
Yes, definitely. It goes hand in hand with my major, and I love theater, so I'll definitely be pursuing theater in college.
What would you say to others interested in doing a musical next year?
I would say definitely go out and try and do it. It's so much fun and it's so rewarding. Even if you're not planning on doing it in the future after high school, it's worth doing it in high school. Thanks.
Thank you so much for joining us today and gracing our show with your presence. We are going to take another short break, and we'll be right back with a few more cast members of this year's musical. Stick around.
Vince Mercury, Executive Director of The Open Door. Worried, scared, confused, not sure where to turn for help? The Open Door, a behavioral health organization, has a full range of addiction counseling services and mental health crisis intervention services which may be able to help. Call 724-465-2605 or 1-877-333-2470. The Open Door, steps towards hope, courage, and recovery. Brought to you by the Armstrong, Indiana Drug-Free Communities Coalition.
The brain is a remarkable organ. It's almost infinite in its capacity. Its ability to reach its full potential is limited by only one thing: the heart. For if the heart isn't fully engaged in what you're doing, if you have no drive, no passion, the brain will simply go through the motions. Find your success at Indiana University of Pennsylvania.
We're back with Armstrong School District's Education Today. Tonight we are talking about Armstrong High School's first musical. We are now joined by a few students who are involved in this year's production.
Could you please introduce yourselves and your roles in the musical?
I am Haley Hoffman. I am the stage manager, the assistant director, and everything else known to man for this year's musical.
My name is Katie Sellers, and I play the role of Gladys Hotchkins, which is the boss's secretary.
Is this your first musical? If not, what other productions have you been involved with?
This is not my first musical. I've been involved in a total of almost 15 shows, some of them including The Wizard of Oz, Footloose, and many other more that I can't really remember the name of.
This is not my first musical. This is my 8th show participating in. I've done multiple shows with the Armstrong Community Theater as a child, and now I've done tons of high school plays.
What is your favorite song in this year's show?
My favorite song would have to be 7.5 Cents.
My favorite would definitely have to be Tornado's Hideaway. It is my song, and it's sort of an upbeat tango song, which makes it really exciting.
How does it feel being a senior and this being your last show?
It feels very surreal being the very first students to ever be involved in the first AHS musical, because you want to make it the best it can be. You want to set the standards really high for the students coming in next year.
It's sort of bittersweet. I'm excited to do the show because it's so much fun, and I love my cast, but then it's sad leaving it.
What are the practices like?
The practices can be very grueling. It's very late nights. Some nights I'm here till almost 9 o'clock every night. I get here at 7, don't leave till 9:30, and I'm back here for school the next day. But once crazy week hits, I'll probably be here 7 till 11 every night.
Practices are definitely crazy. I mean, there's so much that's going on, and there's so many people, and we do get on each other's nerves, but we are one big family, so it all works out in the end.
What is your favorite musical memory?
It's memories and stuff you'll remember for your lifetime. Don't take it for granted, just do it. Don't say, oh, I don't know if I want to do this, just do it.
Definitely do it. Even if you're second guessing yourself, still go out, still audition. I mean, even though if you don't want to be on stage during the production, there's also tons of backstage stuff that we need people for, and that's just as fun.
Thanks so much for joining us today and for gracing our show with your presence. We are going to take another short break and be right back with a few more cast members of this year's musical. Stick around.
Success. We see it every day. Hundreds of majors and programs, bachelor's degrees to PhDs, small classes, internationally known faculty who are committed to your success. Real-world experiences to guide you on your career and life path. An alumni network 120,000 strong. I'm IUP President Mike Driscoll. Visit us. Find your success at Indiana University of Pennsylvania.
It's hard to explain. It just became home. There are hundreds of majors and programs, bachelor's degrees to PhDs, small classes and faculty that really get to know you. Amazing internships and everywhere, programs that help to find a job that is right for you. It's what IUP is about, a commitment to your success. See it for yourself. Visit us, Indiana University of Pennsylvania. Find your success.
Well, that's all the time we have for tonight. A special thanks to Mr. Klugen and all of our student guests for coming in to talk with us today. Thanks also goes to Armstrong High School's TV production students led by Mr. Josh Miklos. They were our film crew today.
Please join us again next week for another look at the Armstrong School District. DVD copies of this and all Education Today programming can be requested by contacting Chris Garitano, Multimedia Technician at Armstrong High School. Visit our website for updated information about the district and have a great week.